Hey Guitopians, here's the Oz Noy interview. Very loose, very casual, a lot of fun. Oz is such an amazing player. You're gonna enjoy this. Now, I just wanted to give you a heads up that yours truly forgot his laptop when we went to film this, so all of the audio is captured by the video cameras. I do apologize for that. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the extremely great pleasure to be here with my friend Oz Noy. We are in Sellersville, Pennsylvania today. His band, Ozone Squeeze, is here about to dismantle the place. So Oz, thanks so much for joining us here at Guitopia. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Let's start off talking about this band.
Sure.
Where did it come from? The format is a little bit different than your previous records. We've got a vocalist going on here, and it's really awesome. So can you just tell us briefly about the band so everybody's up to date on it?
Well, I've been doing stuff with vocalists for years because I live in New York, so there's a bunch of people that over the years have done stuff with. I just never found a combination that was worth recording. And Shuvik from our record company, he's talked to me about it for years. He goes like, "Oh man, we got to do something with a vocalist, blah blah blah."
Right.
So we had this idea for a while, and then this year I'm not releasing any new album of my own, so we thought like, okay, this is a good time to do this, to try it. And I discovered this guy named Ray Tisselwhite on YouTube. He's an amazing singer-songwriter, and he plays left-hand bass, Moog kind of thing, and on keyboard all together. Does three things at once. It's pretty
fantastic.
Sick. Yeah. So I got turned onto him on YouTube, so I knew of him for a while. And then when this thing kind of became more realistic, then I just called him, and he was down.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
so
he lives in Australia?
No, he lives in LA.
Okay.
He's originally from Australia.
Gotcha.
He lives in LA.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So then we started to do this thing really, and the guy, again, Shuvik from Abstract Logic, our company, recommended this drummer, Darren Stanley. He's a guy from Atlanta. Play with a lot of people there. And it just worked really good. And the concept is pretty much, I call it my pop jam band, because the songs are kind of poppy in a way. At least they kind of have pop hooks, you know?
Sure.
But they're very funky and stuff.
Yep.
But we open it up, like we really play. I really play on it, you know? It's not a guitar shred thing, it's just like, it's more, you know, we're playing songs, but it's like instead of playing tunes, we're playing a song, then we open it up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
a fantastic concept.
I've done this in New York in like clubs for years. You know, since I moved to New York, really, I just never thought about recording it or found the right situation that will make sense to do this, you know?
Excellent. Can we pause for just a second here and talk about, you're from Israel.
Yes.
You came to
New York.
the U.S. and specifically New York.
Yeah.
What brought you to the U.S. and what brought you to New York?
I don't know. People always told me you gotta go to New York, you know?
Okay. People back in Israel were saying that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they thought that was where you're going to go to
because that's
quote,
where
unquote,
all
make it.
Everything was happening at the time, at least, you know?
Okay.
At least jazz, you know? And I always played jazz and rock and all that kind of stuff, so I just moved to New York. I don't know. I just a couple of my friends moved to New York a couple of years before me, and they became pretty successful jazz players. So I was not only interested in jazz, I was also interested in doing studio work and anything really at that point. But the jazz scene is the main jazz scene in the world is in New York. There's nothing else. So that's why I pretty much moved there. And also, there's a lot of music that I like that came out of there. You know, at the time, like Hiram Bullock was still alive and all that thing with Hiram and Jocko and all that stuff. To me, that was kind of like the New York sound, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's why I moved there, you know. I thought that it's the right move to do at the time.
It worked out.
Yeah.
So you've been in New York for how long?
21 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Do you get back to Israel?
Yeah, I go like, I used to go twice a year, now it's more like once a year.
Yeah.
You know.
I was there a couple years ago. Had a great time. We played in
it's a great
Tel
place.
Aviv.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great players there. It's pretty freaky. Especially the jazz scene there, it's just like...
Really?
wild. Yeah, people really like jazz there, and there's really great jazz education there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I don't know why it's kind of happened like that, but
it has.
It has, and it's pretty awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so you're playing in particular in the jazz fusion. I mean, I'm going to call it fusion just to put a general label on it.
Yeah.
But in particular, you got if you have to listen to what Oz has done, because what I consider fusion is, and your brand of it, is, in my definition, the pinnacle of fusion. Because when I listen to your music, the fact that almost every section, even every bar, might have something different happening in a couple of different songs, that to me is fusion, because you're grabbing, I mean, I was listening to Ha.
Oh, Ha, yeah.
On the way over here.
Record, yeah.
What was the one you put out in 09 or 10?
Fuzzy? Schizophrenic?
Schizophrenic. I think that's the one I'm listening to. And, you know, great jazz sound, and then just into this rock thing.
I call it electric jazz.
Electric jazz, okay.
That's how I call it, because, you know, it's not jazz in terms of we're not swinging, we're not playing with an upright bass, but the improvisation is jazz, you know, so it's just based over grooves, you know? And the sound is more rock than jazz, obviously, because I just like more of a blues rock sound, guitar. You know?
Even to the point where in the mix, at least from my ear, in that particular song, and I'm sorry I can't think of the name of it, but in this particular section it went from a jazz thing to a straight ahead rock thing, and even in the mix, the kick drum mix changed from more of a jazz sound to a tight rock kind of sound, or maybe it's just being covered up by the distorted electric guitar. But there's enough of a difference there that's just leaning into that change, and that's awesome. So, and I love your use of effects, and that's what I want to talk about next. You've got a new pedal out with Exotic. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I've been using exotic pedals since they came out, really. You know, so I used the RC booster and the AC booster, and that's been. It took me a minute to get to the AC. It was mostly the RC and then the BB, and then actually Eric Johnson turned me on to the AC. And once I had those both together, it kind of became my sound, and it still is till this day. Like my lead sound, 80% of the time is those two pedals together. And
your amp, when you're using those pedals, is clean.
My amp is always clean.
It's always clean.
It's clean, but it's kind of compressed. You know what I mean? It's like it's not clean like dead clean. It's clean where you push it.
Has a little dirt on it.
Just a little bit. If you push it, it'll start. You know.
Yeah. Okay. So you're using the pedals to get more dirt. Push the amp a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't like. I like to try and get a sound that's not too dirty, but still is big and have, you know, size to it. You know, like big and deep. And I was able to do that with the Exotic. So we talked about doing a pedal that has those two pedals together, but the RC has more gain. Like it has another gain stage to it that I found really useful, because if you play, especially. Lately, I've been playing some Les Paul sometimes. Last studio album I played Les Paul on half of it. And I find out with, at least for me, with guitar that has humbuckers, most of the pedals make the sound small. And if you play to an amp, you get this big sound with the overdrive in the amp, but that's not how I work. So the only pedal I found that actually keeps the same sound of the guitar and keeps the same kind of body of the guitar, but you can kind of crank, is the RC, but I always missed a little more, you know, gain from it. So now it's got
gain stage.
Yeah, it's great. And then the other thing that we discovered when we did the pedal is when they're both together in the same box and there's no cable between them, it sounds a little fatter.
Really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I love that. The one that I have is just really awesome.
It's interesting how those things can, essentially, those two pedals in a box, slight tweak, but in the process of designing it, something cool like that can be a side effect.
It's wild.
That's
it's
cool.
really like a thing, you know?
Good. Excellent.
So, there's actually another, there's also the fuzz pedal that, should we talk about that?
Sure, of course, yeah. And you don't worry about picking them up, because I'll just put up graphics.
Okay.
So you got also you have a fuzz pedal out.
Yeah, so Vamaram, the company from Japan. they make these amazing pedals, and they made that shank fuzz for a long time, and I used it, but it was always missing some stuff, and missing some gain for me and some stuff. And about 2 years ago, I kept asking them, "Can you send me one? But can it be like this, like that?" But 2 years ago, I was on tour in Japan, and they brought me a pedal, and it's still the fuzz that I use. You know, it's just awesome. It's just like right there, exactly what I like. So we made it like a signature fuzz. Yeah,
very cool, awesome,
and that's really great too. But it's all old vintage parts, so they only made like a pretty small, limited edition of that stuff.
Right on. So you hear that? Just run out and get it.
Yeah,
right
it's
now,
really
or else you're going to miss out. So talking about effects and talking about your music, anybody can go online and see clips of you playing in the studio when you're recording.
Yes.
Okay. And in your music, another thing that I love is you may have on, like you use a rotary sound.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and you might step on that for a beat.
Correct.
And then back off of it. And that's very cool. It's very different. So when you've got your pedal board in the studio, essentially you're performing like you would on stage and using the effects in line as far as in the sequence of the song parts.
It's a performance.
All live.
All live. I look at those things, the records that I make them as jazz records. You know, we all play in the studio.
Live in the studio recording.
Live in the studio. There's very little fixes, like there's mostly edits after, like we do a lot of takes, so I just choose the takes, I edit what I like, you know what I mean? But
how many takes per song?
I would say like average 5.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So that's 5 full performances
full
of a song.
Performances,
and then
solos, and then, you know, if I got it right in one take, which happens rarely, but it does happen sometimes, then great. But
rarely.
I have
never.
Now, maybe I think like I don't know how many records I have by now, but like studio records, maybe 6 or 7 or something. But maybe 2 songs I ever used the whole take, you know.
So are you doing different solos every time?
Yeah, of course. It's all improvisation.
Just trying out different stuff.
It's jazz.
Cool.
We play. Cool. We just play. I improvise.
Yeah.
Try to do the best I can. And in terms of the use of effect, I'm using the effects as I'm playing live. So all this, like using the Leslie on and off and tremolos, all that stuff is in real time. I don't overdub it later. You know.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know, common practice very often in a studio is to record dry, and then you put all that stuff in afterwards.
I don't do overdubs. I think that's more like when you do overdubs and stuff like that. Sometimes with live too, but
in this case, you have to make sure, like your delay, your reverbs, all that stuff is going straight to.
I usually don't record with a reverb. Okay. But I usually don't play with a reverb, to be totally honest. I play with a slap delay. That's always on. I did a record. When I took it off, and I did a record, I left it on, and I don't know, I just kind of like the ambience of it better when it's on. So recently, everything I record, it's just like I play live. You know what I mean? It just gives me that same sound.
That's another benefit, because everything you did on the record, you can reproduce live. Which is not easy for a lot of people who are they're requiring, you know, these rack units in the studio, and then trying to figure out how to make that happen in a pedal to be more realistic to take on a plane or something.
Yeah, but the thing with my music in general, it's organic. It's the band playing together. There's no overdubs. I don't do like drums and then add bass and then do this and then think about guitar parts. There's no guitar parts. It's just we're playing the tunes. We play them live for a while before we go in the studio. So we go in the studio,
get it under your fingers.
We really know them and play them already. And then we just try to get the best, you know, like the best takes, and that's it. That's what you hear. It's all organic. Really.
It's the best way to do it, because then you're also in and out of the studio fairly quickly.
Well, yes and no. Well, the reason we're out of the studio fairly quickly is because there's no big budgets anymore.
Well, that too, but
well, the record takes me like, I would say, like 3 days to record, and then a long time to edit, because you have to put it together and choose the takes, and then sometimes you overdub little things, you know. So it takes a couple of months to do it, but the actual recording process is pretty much 3 days.
Quick. Yeah, that's fantastic, because a lot of people, I mean, myself included, as I have taken a ridiculous amount of time, but that's because there was no prep work.
Yeah.
When you write and prep with your band
exactly.
and you go in with the premise like you're doing where you want to capture a performance, and that's the other thing that a lot of people forget about a recording. Yeah. It's supposed to be a performance.
Yes, correct.
Not
to me it is.
The other thing.
In some type of music it's not. It's like more of like producing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I do is that I kind of consider it as, let's call it electric jazz. I stick with the jazz format, you know what I mean, where everybody's playing together.
Yeah.
I also don't believe in just going to the studio and playing a song that you never played before. In my situation, I don't believe it. It just doesn't work. And I've been in many situations with like the greatest players there is, and it doesn't matter who you play with. It takes a couple of gigs to make it gel. It doesn't matter who plays it. It just takes time, you know. For me to feel like it's in where I want it to be, you know. You can go in the studio and just play it and it'll be okay, you know.
Yeah, I've been in situations where hired to come to a studio to be a guitar player with nothing prepped.
Yeah.
And even after trying to, you know, ask, well, can you give me something here so I can walk in and not, I mean, what guitar should I bring, you know?
Yeah.
But in that case it's more of a let's jam to suss out some parts.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
Right, but that's not the keeper stuff most of the time. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not.
First takes, depends on what you do. I don't know, I compose tunes a certain way, and I like them to be played a certain way, and I like the energy to be a certain way. You know what I mean? You kind of have something in your head, so you want to make sure you get it. I never really got it. Maybe there's 2 songs that I ever recorded in my life that I got it exactly how I wanted. Usually you don't get it exactly how you want. You just get it close enough where you're like, okay, this is close enough, this can work.
Yeah, and that's a good mentality to have, especially if you're recording at home, because you have unlimited time, unlimited space on your hard drive to do a billion takes.
Correct.
And you got to know when to say when, and that's a mature musician that does.
I'm very uninspired to record. Like I record at home all the time, like doing sessions for people and stuff. But when it comes to me doing my own thing, I'm so uninspired to record at home by myself. It's like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, because it's like I'm at home. All right, I'll just go watch TV.
or just it's like playing with a playback. I hate playing with playbacks. You know what I mean? So it's like it's
just more of a performance based.
Yeah, I like when this thing is for real. You know, and everybody there's interaction, and the drummer does that, and you do this.
Right. Yeah,
it's a thing.
Feed off each other.
Yeah. You know? Plus, it doesn't mean that it's another. You have to know to do the other thing too, or to just sit in the studio and nail it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But in terms of improvising and playing a long solo, not like a short solo on a pop song or parts.
Yeah.
But we have to really improvise. I don't know. Playing like on myself at home is like dries my brain.
Well, let's talk about your compositions real quick, because I encourage everybody like on Guitopia who's learning guitar that part of that you should also be working on your songwriting skill set. So in your compositional world, because again, your music, and one of the reasons I really dig it is because you have so many interesting things, you know, around the corner in the next measure, in the next section, it might be totally different. So when you're composing these songs, I mean, because there are so many left turns and then it comes back, is this planned? Do you have these ideas in your mind?
Well, here's the what everybody believes that it's kind of not exactly what's going on. There's I guess people think that my music is not, at least the last bunch of records, maybe in the beginning it was my music in general is not really complicated. It's not based on anything complicated. It's based on really cool grooves. And grooves can be a slow groove. It doesn't mean like drum groove. It could be anything. It could be a bass line. It could be a guitar part. But it's based on those vamps. And whenever I found those vamps to be inspiring, then I started writing a tune over them. So the basis of the tune that I write are pretty simple. And when I improvise, I never improvise on odd times or stuff like that. It's always pretty straight grooves, like R&B grooves or like whatever, rock grooves, or sometimes it swings a little bit. But so that's the idea behind what I do, and it's always been like that. Where people kind of think that it's complicated is when they listen to the compositions and there is like twists and turns there. Then the reason that happens is just because that's how I hear it when I write. I don't think about, oh, let me put a odd bar here to make all the musicians go like, wow. I don't really care about that at all. I never did, you know. But from some odd reason, sometimes when I write, it kind of comes out that way. So I guess I hear things a little twisted in my head.
Cool. It's creative.
But the thing is, when we're actually playing, it's mostly straight. You know, it's just the heads are a little twisted. You know, that's pretty much it.
Very cool. Very interesting. Now, when you come live, are you bringing the solos with you from the record?
No.
Whatever you're feeling that night.
Yeah.
Every show's different.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I may start some solos the same way, just the first riff, but maybe, you know, even that not always. But you know, when you do a tour and you play like 30 shows in a, you know, every day, it's like you don't want to play the same shit every time.
You don't want to, but sometimes you have to.
Haha.
You know,
all right,
with whoever you're playing with, sometimes
I don't.
Sometimes hundreds of times the
I
same
don't get
thing.
it. I don't get this at all, and I love.
Right.
I really love those guys. I grew up on that shit.
Yeah.
I still listen to it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's the top guitar playing shit on the planet.
Right.
It's nothing better than that. But I don't get that playing safe thing on playing live. I just don't get it.
Gotcha.
It's a little twisted to me. I don't know.
So let's wrap it up with a question. Can you show us, if you would, here, grace us with your playing? What's your favorite line, lick, anything from the new record?
Oh, from the new record. Ooh.
Or anything. What's your favorite line what's your favorite lick that you're playing right now?
I have no idea. I don't play licks. I try not to.
Well, when you pick up, let's put it this way.
When I pick up a guitar, I just, I don't know what I'll play. I don't know. And now I'm kind of in a weird. I guess if
I don't mean to put you on the spot by any means.
I guess if we were just talking, I'll just noodle. Then I would play some jazz. You know, like some jazz stuff.
Okay, so just let's talk about this right here. Is there a frame or a chord to that right there?
Yeah, I just played like over my A minor.
Obviously using chromaticism from a jazz sensibility.
Yeah, kind of. I just thought about a key, so I thought about A minor.
But I'm hearing harmonic.
Yes,
I'm hearing harmonic in there as well, which for all of the guitar nerds out there is minor with a major 7.
Yes.
Is it a conscious thought at all? It's just like, I
Well,
want to hear that. Because that's the question that's going to come to me is, why didn't you ask, is he just hearing that?
Yeah,
Or is he purposefully starting with harmonic minor?
You know, if I play any type of tune over changes, whether it's a standard or it's my tune or whatever, I always know what I'm doing. It's rare that I do stuff that I just go for it and I don't know what I'm doing.
You don't. So you know what you're doing as far as what you want to hear.
As far as what I have in front of me, like I know the chord, I know the scales that I can do. I can kind of hear the melody in my head.
Yeah.
In a way, if I'm lucky, then I nail it exactly. If not, then it's close enough. And you know, everybody plays the same stuff at the end of the day. There's every once in a while some things open up, but in general, you kind of repeat a lot of the stuff that you play.
Sure.
So I know what I'm doing at all times. When I just noodle at home, I usually just noodle. I don't even know what I do. I just kind of, I don't know. I'll play with the right. I don't know. I don't know. I just mess around. Right. But then I can. I just play B flat, then B into A. You know what I mean?
Can we talk about your right hand technique?
Yes.
Can you play something similar?
There's nothing to talk about. Believe me.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Question asked so many times.
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Because I have to be analytical.
Yes.
If I'm going to be a teacher and own a guitar education site, you're doing economy picking.
Correct.
Not conscious though. Is it conscious or no? Have you worked on that ever?
Economy picking meaning pick up or no?
No. When you travel from one string to another in a direction, your direction, if you're coming down this way, your pick is attacking that string first on the direction that you're coming.
I have no idea. I never thought about it.
You see how you're like... If I go down, up, down, down, up.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I never looked at my right hand or thought about it, but I was very aware of what can be done at the time when I was developing the technique. Meaning, when I grew up in the 80s, you know, all those guys like, you know, like played really fast. They had all this 3 notes per string thing, 4 notes per string, all that stuff. I was into that, and I practiced like that, and I kind of still do in a way because it's very symmetrical to me. So I know, like, for example, if I play an F major and it's 3 notes per string, I know that the pick will always go up and down.
But you're doing economy picking there. On the way up, you're alternate picking. On the way down, you're economy picking. Yeah.
I never noticed that.
Which is fantastic.
Wow.
I think the best way to do it is to not really even be conscious of it.
Yeah,
you're just doing
my
it.
My point is, when I practice, I like to practice things that kind of, it's kind of a method, you know, symmetrical stuff. So I'll do 3 notes, 2 notes, 4 notes. That way I kind of, at least I know, when you do certain shapes that you have 2 notes here, 1 note there, 4 notes there, that's when it starts to get weird with a pick.
Right.
So I always play those kind of linear lines where it kind of moves pretty, I think it moves pretty symmetrical. And then I was also aware of Gambala stuff when it came out, so I was aware of it, I practiced some of it. Now when I play, it all comes from musical ideas, but I was aware of what needs to be done with the right hand. It's not that I was just kind of noodling and it all came together, you know what I mean?
It's fantastic. Your playing is always fantastic. So, going back to this new record again, you got to check it out if you haven't yet. You absolutely have to. Do you have a favorite line, riff, progression, anything from the new stuff that you're going to play tonight?
Yeah,
anything from there?
I'm thinking about the songs. What did we record? That, I do a lot of stuff there with effects. Like I do a lot of stuff with this delays, and then I add all this.
Which delays do you use?
Well, all the pyrotechnics, the weird stuff comes from the line 6. They either the M13 or M9.
Okay.
Because it's all top tempo, so you can do a lot of stuff and and do a couple of effects at once. It's the only pedal that does it. You can play up to 3 or 4 delays together, or like a tremolo into a delay into another delay. So I do that stuff a lot, and
that's cool.
Because it's all tap tempo, it's all synced. So I've been doing this for years.
And you tap for every song to set the tempo? It's not pre-programmed?
No.
Okay.
Because, you know, but then I have, this is the pyrotechnic part of it. The usual delays that I just use is I have one Boss DD7 that is a slap delay. That's kind of my reverb.
Okay.
I have another DD7 that is just, it's kind of a one repeat. It just gives a little depth when I play a solo. That's it. It's like you don't really hear it, but it gives a little
in there. Sure.
And then I have a memory man that, you know, you can do so much stuff with a memory man. It's like it's fragile, but it's
a vintage one.
Yeah,
cool.
Got a few of them, and it's a specialty of pedal. You know what I mean? I haven't found anything yet that does that thing that is digital that I can kind of not take the old stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
very cool.
Yeah, in terms of a riff from a record, there's a lot of rhythm guitar stuff, and then some solo. I try to think. I can't think of it.
Don't worry about it. Just go look. Go check out the record.
It's a really cool record. I gotta say,
it is.
There's great tunes and stuff. It's cool, but it's not based on the guitar from the guitar standpoint, like where it's all those guitar riffs. It's gonna come more from some textural stuff and some grooves. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Very cool. Awesome. Well, check out the record. Check out everything Oz has done. It's really awesome, especially if you want to be surprised. If you want to hear many different things in one song, it's really cool. There's a lot of creativity going on there. It doesn't have to just be one thing, and that's something that I really admire and appreciate in your playing. It's really, really awesome. Can we take it out with a little vamp over A minor?
Yeah, why not? We can.